Hi, this is Kayye. We're here at InfoComm 2017. The show hasn't even opened on day 2 yet, but I'm getting a private, secret, exclusive booth tour by Keith Yanke, Senior Director of Product Marketing for NEC Display. How are you doing, Keith?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Gary. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You and I go back a long way. We've both been in this industry a long time,
yes.
and we've seen a lot of changes, but I'm going to bet that you're going to agree with me that we've never seen as many changes as we've seen in the last few years.
Oh, yeah, definitely agree. I mean, the way the display technology is changing, and then just how the solutions business is just bringing that all up together and incorporating not only display hardware, but other pieces of hardware and software to provide solutions for end user applications.
And who would have thought we'd ever have something like what we have behind me here, which is I want to say it's 8K. That's an 8K wall made out of a 4x4 wall?
You are correct, yeah. So that is an 8K native resolution using our 55-inch, one of our 55-inch displays. So this is utilizing our X551 UN product, or X551S products. Okay. So that is our less than 2 millimeter bezel to bezel product in a 55-inch size. So yeah, so the way we're driving this is we're using one PC with a quad out card, driving it into the 4 center displays, and then using a multi-screen tool to daisy chain to those other 3 displays tied to that first display. But the native resolution is that 8K.
Okay, so you're taking the 8K image, splitting it into 16 pieces basically.
Correct.
And then displaying each of the pieces. And this is going to become more and more popular. I mean, this is the future of retail advertising. I mean, all the money's moving from out of the house, or from inside the house to out of the house to stuff like this.
Oh, for sure.
And what about this here? This is kind of interesting. This is a collaboration with BrightSign that you guys have as well, right?
Yes, yeah. So we are a very close partner with BrightSign. So we're collaborating with them in a number of different spaces within our booth. This is one of the areas. So we're using a BrightSign player to drive this 84-inch UHD product. So 4K resolution, showing this beautiful retail type of content.
Yeah, and then that's a 3840 by 2160 resolution LED backlit LCD, I assume?
Yes, so it's LCD technology with LED backlighting, correct.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you one of the coolest things on the show floor by far that I've seen so far. Do you mind if we go to the VR demo?
The virtualarium.
Virtualarium, okay. Check this out. This is a virtual aquarium that's being from above, it's being projected by 2 laser-based projectors. Are these LCD or DLP?
So those are single chip DLP products. So they're 10,000 lumens, laser-based. So it's perfect for this type of application, right? So can provide long usage, no maintenance, and like that 24-hour, 7 days a week type of operation. The reason we're using multiple projectors here is so when we're on the surface itself, we're not blacking out any part of the image. So there might be some shadowing, but we're not blacking out or blanking out anything.
We're not standing in front of it, so they're double projecting it so that you're able. So these are 2 aligned together, so that you're able to get an image, so you don't get a shadow unless you're directly on top of it. But here's the cool thing: is that I want the videographer to stand sort of in the middle right there and get the positioning of this, because if you're here, all of a sudden now you're surrounded by sharks. Correct. In a shark tank made up of 16 or 18 LEDs. Is that?
Yeah, 18 of our 55-inch lower brightness UN 551 products. So it's a 9x2 configuration wrapped around, giving you that 180-degree immersive feel when you step into the space.
I mean, it's a pretty neat demo, and it accomplishes 2 things at once. You're showing lot of the future of our market's going to be VR and creative applications like
Absolutely.
This, and you're showing it. And I doubt anyone thought of doing this with monitors.
Oh, correct. Yeah,
most people think projector.
Sure. Oh, yeah, with projectors. And the good thing is actually with this, I mean, we're showing it with large format, ultra narrow bezel LCD, but we could definitely do it with projection or even direct view LED.
Yeah, and obviously you could do that with projection. In fact, there's a lot of people on the show floor doing a projection, but I think it's creative that you did this with monitors because It shows different applications.
Yes, yeah, and by doing it with the monitors like we have here, we can create a much higher pixel count for this immersive experience. So we can show native resolution on this. So let's say 1080 by 9. So we're showing over 9,000 pixels wide, actually over 10,000 pixels wide with this configuration.
There's this one shot that I was looking at yesterday. The shark was coming at me, and I was like, whoa, it's kind of jarring. Tell me where we're going to go next. Where are we going to head? What do you want to show me next?
We're actually going to go over to the rest of our retail section and just go over to some of the other solutions.
So while we're walking over there, I want to ask you a question. I heard a rumor that the original idea for this was a roller coaster, but it was too jarring for people. They were getting sick when they were sort of experiencing it. Is that
yes, that is correct. So we were hoping to do part of the segment as a roller coaster, but we were worried that people might get sick, and
you don't want them to throw up on
exactly. That could cause more problems in the booth. We don't want to. First of all, we don't want people to get sick, and then of course we don't want the after effect of that.
But it would have made a good news story for us.
It would have, yes. It would have been great for you guys for sure, Gary.
There was this time where a particular manufacturer at InfoComm, if you recall, the sprinkler system turned on over their booth. It was great news for us.
That was great news.
I mean, it's terrible news for them, but it was great. It was great because it was fun. You know, we don't get much different news at a show like this. So no, I'm just kidding.
Yes, yeah, right.
Okay, so this wall here showing your this reminds me of Digital Signage Expo, where you're showing different retail applications for digital signage.
Absolutely correct. So this is where we're showing how we can use really a number of our different display technologies within the retail environment. So on the bottom here, we're showing a combination of our large format displays as well as our desktop displays. So we've recently launched a number of desktop displays that have either 3-sided or 4-sided narrow bezel capability. So that allows us to tile them together like in this configuration, a 2x4 in portrait orientation, showing, again, retail, in-store retail type of content. The 65-inch there is a 4K display. We'll walk over to it because it is interactive. So what we're doing is we're creating a virtual store with this 65-inch 4K UHD display. So again, just showing how we can bring this into a retail environment and change the way a store operates. And
this person who would shop here definitely likes the color white.
For sure likes the color white, right? So we've worked with a number of partners to bring this solution into our booth. And then up top, all the way up top, we're using projection. So again, with the advancement of projectors and the move away from lamp and into solid state or laser, we can put projectors outside of the classroom and the boardroom conference room where we've typically have seen them for years.
Yeah, and there's been this sort of hype that the projector is going to die because of the display, and companies like you have sort of been blamed for that because you have such a large lineup of display, direct view display products. But the irony of it is, because of solid state lighting, in my opinion, the projector market is about to go through another sort of second wave boom, don't you think?
Absolutely. In fact, I was talking to someone yesterday about that, and yeah, so while some markets might shrink as they move over to large format LCD, there's going to be other markets that are actually going to grow with the addition of solid state projectors. So as we talk about retail, we talk about some amusement or entertainment type applications. We can now start to incorporate projection technology into that because of the solid state or laser technology.
Yeah, and I'm a big, tell me where we're going to head next, but I'm a big believer of the whole concept of the digital canvas, where you fill a room with a projected image and then you just use the elements of it that you need to use at that moment in time. So I think that 4K is going to be a boom for that.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and so of course we're moving forward with more solid state or laser based projection, but now the next step with projectors is going to be into that higher resolution, right? So we'll move into that 4K. In fact, later on in the tour we'll get to a projector that we do or plan to launch in early 2018 that will be 4K native resolution.
Okay, excellent. So what are we looking at here?
So here we're mimicking or creating a broadcast. So one of the vertical markets that we're addressing is the broadcast segment. So what we're showing is direct view LED, along with a couple of our large format display, desktop displays to show some post-production.
So this is duplicating like a TV set.
Correct, exactly. So we're showcasing how LED can be used on a live TV set, or even like House of Worship, if that mega church is doing a lot of video production, they're going to be utilizing LED, direct view LED as a backdrop for that video production.
Okay, so the right is definitely LED. The left is LED too?
Yeah, so great question. So this whole screen is LED, but what we're showing on the right-hand side is really targeted specifically for that on camera, that live type of feed. So we've partnered with Stewart Film Screen to provide this film over the left half of the LED surface. And what is that doing? When it's on camera, the LED can have a Murrah effect.
Yeah.
A Murray effect, yeah, absolutely. So what that Stewart film screen is doing is eliminating that effect. So it's giving it a much more cinematic feel than if it wasn't on there.
Yeah, and in fact, we're showing it now, and you can actually see the Murray effect on the camera that we have here, and you can see. It depends on what you're showing, obviously, but that motion, especially, you're able to see that, and on the left, you don't see it. Is there any color correction being done for camera? I mean, obviously, that's easy to do, but are you demonstrating that as well, or just specifically the difference in that film?
It's just it's really that Murray effect, as well as just some softening of those hard edges, right? So
that's the same LED. That's an interesting
Correct.
demo. It's the same
Correct.
LED on the left side. Yeah, it is a little softer. It looks a little bit more like projection, but it's significantly brighter than projection would be in a typical environment.
Yes, correct. Yep.
Okay, that's a good demo. I now totally get it. I wasn't sure when you were setting it up exactly what you were trying to show here, but that totally makes sense. And what's the pixel pitch that you recommend for studio applications like this?
I mean, it's going to depend on the customer. I mean, what we're showing here, which should be all right or acceptable for most applications, is 2.5 millimeter. So I guess probably a newscast type of on-screen, on-set type of applications, 2.5 would be perfect. If you're doing some other type of maybe longer distance video footage, you might be able to even go with a larger pixel pitch. But 2.5 should be acceptable in most cases, especially if you are incorporating that Stewart technology on top of it, which you should, because it's necessary from that on screen to really get the most impactful video from that direct view LED surface.
All right, I'm going to take a picture of this too, because I want to make sure that I write about this. What is the name of that screen material, that film material that Stewart is doing? Let's see if we have a brochure here, because I think people who are watching are going to want to know what it's called.
So it's the Stewart Fidelity Vision.
Okay, Fidelity Vision. So you're going to want to look on our website and in the video search window, type in Stewart and look at that video, because we have it here, but also you should probably check it out the video that we shot at Stewart, which we no doubt have either shot or going to shoot today. Where are we going next?
So we're going to go right behind you, Gary, and look at a couple other important verticals for the NEC display business. So this is, again, very similar to what we did at DSE. Two big vertical markets for us are the transportation and the restaurant space. So here we're showing how we would utilize our large format displays in those different applications or those different vertical markets. So on the left-hand side, we're showing transportation in a couple different ways. So we've got flight information displays that every airport basically that you walk into now has. So we're showing our latest V and P series large format displays for that. And then next to that, or on the right-hand side of those two flight information displays, we've partnered with Peerless to provide a wall kiosk with one of our interactive large format displays.
So that frame around that display is actually built by Peerless, but the display itself is an NEC display.
Correct, yeah. So the display is NEC, and the frame around that protecting the display is the Peerless kiosk.
Excellent. Okay, I had not seen that before. All right, let's walk over here too. I want to say, it says is it aluminum or what is that? Is it steel?
It is a steel frame, just powder coated with like a silver color, enough to, again, mount the unit to the wall, but also give it some protection against vandalism or other things within the space it would be put into. So whether it's transportation or even a vertical a retail application, this could be used in, right? Just to give some extra protection.
Yeah, it's sort of like ruggedize
itself. Exactly, ruggedize it. The other nice thing is what we've done here is it is one of our interactive displays. So we can, well,
This is what happens when we ask for a tour before the booth opens. It's my fault. I apologize. You know, it's funny. We were here playing around with this when you guys were setting up, because what happened was I accidentally touched this and did not realize it was a touchscreen monitor, and they were in the middle of working on something. They came out from the back and like, wait, what's going on here? So I don't know what I did. Maybe maybe I created another problem here. I locked out your display. But yeah, so it's a touch. You can put either touch or non-touch in here, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah. If you just want to use it as a true information board, you can just leave the display as is, no interactivity on it. But if you want to bring that interactivity into it and help people, guide them either to different places within the terminal for restaurants or for gifts or something else, we can add that interactivity and bring and heighten that experience from just a standard display with graphics on it.
This is proof that we don't stage these tours. This is proof that these are on the fly, just like it would happen if you were actually here at the show. Okay, so obviously restaurant, I mean, yes, you guys, NEC is no doubt dominating the restaurant signage business. I mean, I am privy to a lot of the confidential installs that you guys do that are co-branded or you know, OEM licensed, and you guys are totally dominating that space.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look at history and look at the NEC displays over the years, restaurants, especially quick serve restaurants, have been a huge part of our business. So what we're showing here is really just highlighting our latest display technology that would be used in the restaurant type space. So showing two different menu board configurations. What we're showing here is the typical menu board, digital menu board that you would see, a 1x2 configuration. Typically, it's going to range from 1x2, 1x3, possibly even 1x4.
Yeah, McDonald's and more fast food restaurants, I see a lot of 1x4.
Yes, exactly. So anyone with a larger menu needs that extra space, not only to display the menu items, but also any of the promos that might be going on within that month or time period.
Yeah, and I've noticed that like places like Kayye and the more quick serve places do this at like the entrance, so that as you're standing in line, you get a chance to see the menu like in the line area, and you can kind of make a decision. And so vertical or portrait mount is very popular, and I'd say, you know, when looking at the difference, I see a lot more portrait mount and quick serve.
Exactly, yeah. So again, as this promo board or entrance board, it's a great way of customers that are standing in line, maybe waiting to get up and order, a way for the quick serve restaurant really to upsell possibly customers. And maybe the customer's coming in set on one item, but by the time they get up to order, because of this promo board, maybe they're ordering something else because of that, or additional items.
Yeah, in fact, I teach at UNC, the University of North Carolina, and I have Rich Ventura from NEC, comes to my class every year and talks to them about digital signage. One of the stats that he gave is a particular fast food restaurant. When they put in digital signage like this in the quick serve restaurant, they put the item up, the item sales go up 35% while the item's there, and as soon as they take the item off, it goes back to its normal sales process. So it's a way, if you've connected it to your inventory system, that's a brilliant way to sell product that you're not moving very quickly.
Absolutely. And so that's why, you know, it's not just a display, right? The display is just one part of it, but you also need, of course, the hardware to run the display from a computing standpoint, but then you also need the content. The content is very important at the end of the day, because if it's done right, it will help the ROI of that restaurant or retail space for sure.
Agreed. All right. Are we have anywhere else to go, or are we done?
I'm going to show you one more area.
Excellent.
I want to take you over to the embedded computing area.
All right, we're going to go one more area. Oh, and the embedded computing. Okay, that was a big thing at DSC as well, where you were showing the different ways to embed signage in your displays. Because obviously you have the traditional stuff that a lot of other manufacturers have, OPS slots. But you're doing a couple of things that most other manufacturers don't have, and the partnerships that you have are a little bit unusual or unique.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely right. So what we're showing on this wall is our different computing options. So Gary, you mentioned that we do have the OPS slot. So we can provide computing inside, integrated into our displays. And that is running either an Intel or an AMD processor. We can change the processing speeds depending on what the application truly requires.
And resolution.
And resolution, of course, yeah. So we can accommodate either our full HD or even UHD resolution with that OPS power. But one of the things we've done differently, what we've added on our latest generation V and P series displays, is the addition of a Raspberry Pi compute module opening or place for a card that gives us a lower cost computing option.
Raspberry Pi is becoming very popular as an alternative for, I would say, what I call sort of like a more simplified or entry-level digital signage, like doctor's office, dentist's office kind of stuff, or a small restaurant or small bar area.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, those places don't want to spend $500,000 on a computing option. They want something lower cost. So with the Raspberry Pi, we can bring them that. So what we're doing is we're working, of course, not only with the Raspberry Pi being modular and lower cost, but now we can also work with other partners, other software or hardware companies to provide a solution for a specific application or vertical market. So if you look at like the restaurant or the transportation, we can work with those software companies to provide that content that will work on the Raspberry Pi. The other nice thing is what we're showing here is we've worked with Intevi, one of our close partners, to provide a video over IP solution. So that's what we're showing on the Raspberry Pi itself. So we've got the Raspberry Pi embedded into the display.
The video, so the content is being sent totally across the network. Is it streamed or is it downloaded, at night and then played during the day? How does that, or is it in either or kind of?
It could be either or. So we do have a small memory capability on the Raspberry Pi, so we could transfer it over the network onto the card and play it back from the card, but what we're showing here is the streaming capability. We do have 3 different live channels on here, so we can actually use it, of course, to show multiple video feeds, but if you think about even a hospitality space, we can actually use it to showcase their entire video or TV type of lineup.
So, like for example, in a hotel room or even a hospital, right? You're able to surround the different television stations with content, educational content, or marketing or advertising content as well. Keith, I really appreciate you doing this. I know that you got other things you'd rather do, but I appreciate you coming in a little bit early and doing a booth tour. The show floor is getting ready to open, so I know you've got some appointments you got to attend to. I hope you enjoyed this booth tour. Of course, you can find out you can see all this already on necdisplay.com. And of course, you can type in NEC in the video search window and see all the individuals videos we shot here at InfoComm 2017. Keith, Yanke, thank you very much.
Jerry, pleasure. Thank you very much.
We've been in the industry a long time. Hopefully we'll be here a little bit longer because I'm very excited about the new technology.
Oh yeah, we've got many years of exciting technology coming up, so it's going to be great.
Well, thanks for watching.